Hey guys, Arleesha here, and welcome to another video. It is so good to be back with you all. During the month of February, I spent a lot of time learning and attempting to level up my art skills. One of the things that I spent a lot of time on was this course for what I originally thought would just be learning how to use oil paints, but ended up being so much more than I expected, and I'm really excited to share what I've recorded over the last month of that process with you all. And we're going to be talking today about a specific curriculum called Evolve Artist, who is also the sponsor of this video. Let's start by talking about one of the coolest things about this program, which is that along with high-quality professional instruction, you also receive all of the art supplies that you need to complete the course. So I have box 1 here. Included in the box are 4 tubes of Old Holland oil paint. These are in varying shades of gray. You also get a variety of synthetic brushes in varying sizes, a bottle each of linseed oil and clove oil for mixing with your paints, and some various accessories like a palette knife for mixing, an eyedropper for adding oil to the paints, and a knitting needle and small measuring tape for measuring and sketching. You also get a set of photographs to use as reference images, as well as a set of transfer images for every painting. You also have a very thorough checklist of everything you'll be working on during the exercises, as well as several sheets of transfer paper for transferring your sketch onto the canvas pads. I've been using just one sheet of transfer paper over and over so far for all of the exercises. You get 3 canvas pads, which is where your actual paintings will go, and a pad of palette paper for mixing your paint. Everything in this box is designed to take you through the first 2 of 4 blocks in the course, which is about halfway through, maybe around 6 months, depending on how many hours you put in a week. And then after those first 2 blocks, Evolve sends you another box full of supplies for the second half. Program founder Kevin Murphy has been painting professionally in oils for over 30 years and has been teaching at the Art Academy in New Jersey for over 10 years. In 2017, this online program was founded. The example paintings I'm showing you here are specifically from block 1 of this program, which is the first quarter of the whole thing. So these are paintings that students are creating in the first few months of the program, and it really is astounding to me to go, you start with squares and end here. Block 3 introduces color, and by the time you get to the end of the year, this is what you're doing. And to think that this kind of progress, this kind of growth is achievable by students, whether you have previous art experience or not, in approximately a year is absolutely astounding to me. And to be honest, at first was not something that I thought was necessarily going to be achievable by everyone. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into my specific thoughts about the program. Like I said, at first it seemed very intimidating and kind of hard to wrap my mind around. As I was watching through the first video lessons, Kevin is very adamant about doing things exactly how he shows you and not varying from that process. It was I had like this sense of dread kind of following me around from multiple places of, wait, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to have homework again. I don't want someone telling me that I have to make art in a specific way. And I was I was getting really nervous about it before I started. But once I started looking at the exercises, looking at the process, because everything is detailed so specifically, the squares I'm working in are a specific size. The amount of paint I'm putting out on my palette is very specific. The amount of oil that I add, again, it's all very specific. And it felt like a lot of constraints were being put on me at once. At least that's how I perceived it in the beginning. But it wasn't very long until I realized that it wasn't that I was being confined, it's that I was being equipped with tools for success. So think about it this way. Imagine that you decide you want to learn how to fly an airplane. So you walk into the cockpit of the plane and you look at all of the buttons and all of the dials and all of the levers and all of the switches, and it's overwhelming. You look at what it is that you're supposed to be learning how to do, and it seems like too much. And that's kind of how I felt when I first saw those example paintings. I was like, okay, right. Yeah, that's a lot. And as an artist, realism has never really been my goal, but I've always appreciated the beauty of it and the skill of it. But anyway, it seemed really overwhelming at first. But then I realized that what was happening was that I was being taught what each button does, one at a time, to go back to the flying a plane analogy. So I was being taught what each thing does one at a time, and then learning to apply that skill, from learning how to mix the paint on the palette, learning how to paint a solid square, which is where you start, learning how to paint gradients, and then taking those core skills and applying them to various subjects. And I only completed the first two exercises, like the first two exercise paintings of the course, and there are so many more ahead, but they all apply the same foundational skills. And it's so much more than learning about how to use oil paints. Evolve's mission statement says, Evolve Artists offers the shortest path to gaining the serious skills necessary to create art without limitations. And that's their goal. While I was learning about oil painting here, there was so much that Kevin taught. As someone who has been teaching for so long, that applies to anyone really seeking to pursue art as a profession, or to even just reach a professional level as far as skill goes. I could tell listening to Kevin that he had seen hundreds and hundreds of the same beginner mistakes, the same questions that everyone has. And this course is a representation of distilling that information down so that you are able to absorb the material, learn it, and apply it as quickly as possible without feeling like any of the details are skimmed over. That's a big part of why the course starts with Grayscale. So in the very beginning, you're not using colors, and even then, you're only using 4 values. There's an extreme shadow, a moderate light, and an extreme light. That's it. You start with 4 values, and in the very first painting, you're not even mixing any gradients or any in-between tones or anything like that. You're starting with just these 4 values. And the very first exercise is literally just learning how to paint squares. So learning how to apply the paint to the paper, learning how to create clean, sharp edges. And then after that, you move on to lots and lots of gradients. I think I spent 6 hours painting gradients, but there was never a point, whether I was painting squares or working on gradients or painting the cubes and even the last sphere exercise, there was never a moment in my 12 to 15 hours working on this course that I felt was wasted, or that I felt, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is taking so long. If you know me, then you know that I usually don't spend a ton of time on my watercolor paintings. I think that on average, my paintings take between 1 to 2 hours max. And for me to spend 3 hours painting a sphere on a table was not something that I thought I would enjoy, but also not something I thought I was capable of. I didn't think that I had the patience or the skill to create realistic work like this. And really, I've only scratched the very tippy top surface of what this program has to offer. I've actually even decided to purchase this class for myself because I'm loving it so much, and I feel so empowered every step of the way to create art that I didn't know that I could create. The program at first was scary. It's a monetary investment and it's a time investment, and I wasn't sure, especially as someone who has a full-time job and also has 2 little kiddos to take care of, I wasn't sure if I had the time for something like this. But when it comes to something you're passionate about and something that you really want to learn and grow and develop in skill. It's just like taking the time to work out or to develop any kind of strength or skill. If it's something you really care about, you make the time. During every step of the way working through this curriculum, I never once felt like I didn't have the skills or the knowledge that I needed to complete each exercise. Up through the exercises that I did, there are video lessons that accompany them. Not every painting has video lessons, as many times you are just applying the skills you already have and refining them. You're turning that knowledge into experience and wisdom. But with these exercises I did here, I sat down, I watched all of the videos, I watched Kevin demonstrate each exercise, and then I did it myself. The great thing about having video lessons is that you can always go back and watch them again if you're not sure and you're like, wait, how did he make this gradient? Or how am I supposed to hold the brush here? Or how am I supposed to complete this part of this exercise? Those lessons are always there so that you can go back and look at them. It's not the kind of curriculum that's designed for you to paint along with the instructor. I definitely found it was so much more beneficial to encourage myself to slow down, to watch what he was doing while he was doing it, and then to dive in myself. It allowed me to pay better attention when Kevin was painting, and it also allowed me to problem solve on my own when it came to completing the exercises myself. It was so clear to me that learning from Kevin meant learning from someone who had a lot of professional experience. So like I said earlier, it's not just that he's been painting professionally for a long time, it's also that he's been teaching professionally for a long time. So even as someone who's not necessarily a beginner when it comes to art, I knew that Kevin knew the questions I wanted to ask, and this curriculum has been crafted so meticulously in such a way as to answer those questions as you go. If you trust the process and follow the course as you're instructed, I really don't see how anyone couldn't do this, which is not necessarily how I felt in the beginning. So, like I said, it was absolutely empowering. So aside from what I myself was learning, and this is, an online curriculum that you can do relatively independently, but there's such a strong community around the program, starting with the instructors. So when you complete each exercise, before you can move on to the next one, you have to submit your exercise as homework. So after I completed each exercise, I took a picture of it, uploaded it on the Evolve website, and within 24 hours, one of the instructors had gotten back to me with feedback. So for every single one of my exercises, I heard from someone who said, this is what you did really well. This is what you can try to fix in the future, and this is how to fix it. And that sort of thing is absolutely invaluable, especially in this day and age when we have access to so much information on the internet. There's so much that we can learn. And I mean, everything I've learned as an artist up to this point has been kind of piecemealed together from truly amazing content from other creators. And as I've grown as an artist and kind of built this professional lifestyle for myself, the taller that tower of my career grows, the more I can see the building blocks near the bottom, the foundational things that are just missing. I can see those gaps, and it feels like the entire structure is kind of teetering, Not to say that every single person has to have this very traditional style education, but while working on this course, the value of that instruction was absolutely invaluable. And it wasn't just a matter of sitting and watching a video. I was able to connect with instructors, and my experience has shown me that everyone on this team genuinely wants you to succeed. It's not just a matter of saying, we're super great artists, and if you follow along, maybe you'll be as good as us someday. There's really not that sense of elitism here. It's about empowering you to create the kind of art that you want to create. Outside of the community of instructors, the program also encourages students to connect with one another. There's a wall on the homepage where you can see highlighted works from other students, and you can go in and like and comment on the projects that other students are working on. And there's also an exclusive Facebook group for Evolve students where you can ask each other questions or get feedback. The two paintings that I completed for this course, the cubes and the sphere that I'm working on now, took about 3 hours each, which maybe seems like a long time, especially considering how long I usually spend on my watercolor paintings. But like I said, there was never a moment where I felt bored, because I had been equipped with a set of skills, but also guidelines to follow. I knew that every stroke I made was working towards completing the next step. And this course isn't just about perfection. It's not just about being perfect. It's also about loving what you do. The founder and instructor in the videos, Kevin, says that even if you want to be excellent at painting, if you don't enjoy the process, then this isn't the career for you. You have to love sitting down and mixing paints and creating every brush stroke and seeing it all come together. It can't just be about wanting that final end result. You have to love the process along the way. And I did. I absolutely loved every moment of creating this course. If you're interested in checking out this program, please do check it out. I will leave a link down in the description below. And if you guys are interested in updates about my experiences as I continue through this curriculum, let me know about that too. I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed hearing me gush about this curriculum. It really is a goldmine, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to experience some of it myself and also to share it with you all. As I'm sure it's probably apparent by this point, I would highly recommend checking out Evolve Artist for anyone who's looking to level up their art skills and really invest the time to growing and building a solid foundation, not just for, doing realistic oil paintings, but setting yourself up with the skills and the knowledge and the experience to work freely in your art and not be held back by your limitations in knowledge or understanding. I can't wait to apply the skills I've learned already to the kinds of works that I've been creating. So again, links to Evolve Artist will be down in the description of this video, and another huge thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I also want to thank my patrons and my YouTube members for your constant support. Even though I haven't been making videos during the month of February, I have been updating them with regular content and vlogs and real-time videos and all that sort of thing. Thank you all so much for joining me. Please do check out Evolve Artist via the link down in the description, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.